The one time my higher self warned me about a serial killer. 2019, I lived in South Beach. I lived on 7th and Collins. It was the best place ever. Woo, I loved my view. It was just amazing. And at the time, I was a hairstylist as well as I worked part time at a crystal shop called the Ninth Chakra. One day on the trolley, I was with my daughter, I believe, and I remember hearing out of nowhere serial killer. And I was like, what the fuck? I remember looking around feeling kind of weird, and then all of a sudden I heard murderer. I jokingly said to my daughter, can you imagine if we're actually sitting next to like a serial killer or like a murderer? That would be so fucking weird. I'm like, you can't even tell who's doing this stuff. We're on a trolley, we're going places. How do you know? So she was like, yeah, that is kind of weird. That would be kind of scary. The weirder part was I kept hearing murderer, serial killer, and I was like, what the fuck? I don't understand why this is repeating itself. The entire day, I kept hearing that word. So I even texted one of my friends, Giselle, and I was like, dude, this would be so weird, right? That you just be right next to one and wouldn't even know. The following day, I had to go to work at the Ninth Chakra. And on my way there, on the trolley, I heard it again. And I'm like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to tell me? Because I don't understand this message. Like, murderer, serial killer, this is too much. I get to work. It's a very simple day. It's kind of slow. And I do my thing. Like, you say hi, you greet people, they come in and out. You try to sell a crystal here and there, but whatever. It is what it is. It's one of those things. At one point, I'm standing at the register, and an older man with a very young looking guy come inside the store. They start walking around, and of course I approached them and I said, hi, welcome to the Ninth Chakra, nice to meet you, my name is Ginger, if you need any help please reach out, I would love to help you. This guy, the younger one, his eyes were like piercingly blue, and I remember just staring at him because he was super tall and he was with this older man. The older man seemed a little bit shorter, kind of quiet. It felt like the younger guy was kind of running the show, so it was really strange to me. I remember staring at him and seeing all his tattoos, and his tattoo of a key on his left side, and then he had keys on a chain, and it was like, the antique keys, and I love fucking antique keys. I love keys tattoos. I have one on me. It was just like I connected with him right away. And I remember saying to him, oh my God, I love your keys. He smiled at me, and it was just like, that feeling that somebody could see through you? That's the feeling I got. I just remember the older man kind of being quiet and docile and kind of to himself. So I thought they were father and son, or more like grandpa and grandson, because that's how old this guy was. They proceed to walk around the store, and I'm watching them as I should be, right? And at one point, the guy was like, hey, can you help me with this? So I went over there and I started helping him. We chatted up. We get along pretty well. I mean, he was super charismatic, funny. It was so weird how instant this connection was. The older guy just kind of seemed to himself off to the side. I'm explaining to this guy the crystals. I'm explaining to him all the, smudging stuff and the incense and all of that. And he's just flirting and being funny. And I was like, okay, cool. He's pretty decent. All of a sudden, I go to hand him something. When a person tries to touch your hand at the same time, trying to be like cute, right? He touches my hand, and it was this instant reaction. Like, I got startled, but it was more of like a warning feeling. I can't even fucking describe the feeling. It felt like I should not be around this person. I went from like, he seems pretty cool, to like, something's off because of this weird feeling that went through me when he touched my hand. In that very moment, I was like, okay, I need to step away and like pretend that I'm good, but like not startle him, because I know he saw my reaction. Like, I couldn't hide that shit. I walk over to the register and I'm like, okay, I need to leave these two alone because something's off and I can't put my finger on it. And old man is very quiet, very weirdly quiet. So something's wrong. They come to the register with some stuff. Old man again is quiet. But the other guy is talkative, and he proceeds to ask me a bunch of questions like, do I live on South Beach? Where do I live? Almost said where I lived at. And it was just this weirdness I can't describe, but he was just trying to get to know me and trying to ask a little bit too many things that I felt were maybe more private. So I kind of diverted the questioning to his keys and how I love keys and why do you wear them? And so he sees it as a spiritual meaning, right? Like I do, and how things, his doors open, etc., whatever. Anyway, we're making small talk, and I'm just like, I just want this dude to leave because something is telling me something's off. I go and I ask, who's going to pay for it? Your dad? He looked at me and he looked at the old man and he started smiling. He's like, yeah, my daddy. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? This old man had to be closer to his 80s. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, and this dude seemed like, what, like 30 something? I was just like, what the fuck? But we listen and we don't judge. You know what I'm saying? I hand him the receipt, and once again, he touches my hand and I feel off as hell. He was like, well, I hope I get to see you again. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. Well, I'll see you soon. And they're out the door. A few days go by and I end up working at the salon, and she used to have the news on. So I'm looking at the news while I'm sitting down because it's really slow. And as I watch the news, I'm like, holy shit, that's the guy. That same sandy blonde, tatted face dude was on the screen. And what did it say? Local serial killer. He had committed a you-know-what to that same old man that was in the fucking store. Why do they call him a serial killer? Well, he claimed that he had done multiple killings. They caught him in New York City, and he had literally said on camera that he did it. Eventually, he would be known as the Samurai Killer. What in the hell? I'm going to insert a news clip here, but I'm going to tell you right now, listening to your higher self is very imperative because there's messages that are given to you. You've no idea what the fuck it is, but just listen to it because Lord have mercy, if I would have just screwed up and said something extra, or I don't know, I have no idea. All I know is that's how I met a serial killer. And I think I saved myself by listening to that moment that he touched me to walk away, because he was very charismatic, very creepy, yet I couldn't help but be intrigued by him. And these are the type of people we need to be careful with. But yeah, listen to your higher self. It's very important.
Man arrested for killing an elderly man using a samurai sword over 2 years ago appeared in bond court today.
Very disturbing crime, and according to police, he admitted to it. NBC6's Marcine Joseph has the story.
Nearly 2 years later, Nicholas Gibson was extradited here from New York. We're learning today that Gibson lived with the elderly man before allegedly killing him with a samurai sword.
It's a pretty gruesome murder.
A judge read the details of a murder that police say happened at the hands of Nicholas Gibson. The 34-year-old is accused of killing 77-year-old Eric Stalker at the Tribeca condos in South Beach. Back in April of 2019, police say neighbors complained of a foul smell that led them to an apartment where they found Stalker's severely decomposed body. On that day, Stalker's neighbor was shocked after learning what happened to him.
It's like a scene out of CSI Miami. It's not something that you would ever actually think happens in real life.
Stalker's body was found tied to the bed, stabbed multiple times, and mutilated. Investigators say the words "Rome must fall" were written on the wall in blood.
He was seen with a samurai sword that was used to kill the victim.
Police say Gibson was living with Stalker for only 2 months as his caretaker. After committing the murder, investigators say Gibson fled to New York with Stalker's cell phone, and that's how they were able to track him down and arrest him. As he was being taken to jail, reporters asked if he killed Stalker. His response:
Did you kill that guy in Florida?